Hovind has sort of become a right-wing folk hero because he has spent nearly the last decade in prison for refusing to pay federal income taxes on the grounds that all the money he generated by his theme park, Dinosaur Adventureland, which also is given, because he runs this park, he's gained the name from the right-wingers, Dr. Dino. He hasn't paid his federal income tax because he's claiming that all that money generated by that theme park belonged to God. And his 10-year prison sentence is coming to an end, and he's finding that he's in even more legal troubles with from the federal government because he's trying to illegally prevent the government from selling off the properties that they seized from him from the original tax case. If you're catching what I'm saying here. This guy spent 10 years in prison and is still not giving up on the fact that he believes his tax money goes to God, aka his pockets. You know, we all know that there's not some sort of entity actually taking his tax money. He has it. Jesus. Now, NewsWithViews Christian talk show host, Coach Dave Daubenmire, has been one of Kent's biggest fans. And Right Wing Watch has been watching News with a View to sort of see what he's been saying about this. And he's been going on and on about this, posting numerous videos covering this. But one had caught our eye here on the Majority Report that we thought was too funny to not play. And Coach Dave Daubenmire is claiming that the government is persecuting Hovind simply because he's a Christian. You know, not put aside that the guy runs a dinosaur theme park, which I'm sure generates revenue regardless. You know, there's a market for those sort of theme parks. So the Creationist park, I'm sure people are going there. So he's being persecuted not for being a Christian, not because, you know, he won't pay his taxes. And let's play this sound because it's just too good.
Dr. Kent Hovind is facing a trial for what they called mail fraud, but he's being tried by a jury of his peers. I began to think about that when Dr. Hovind was in trial, and I was sitting in there and I was looking at the jury box and viewing the jurors. I thought, wow, is that really a jury of his peers? See, there was a time in America when most of us shared the same set of values. America wasn't as diverse and it wasn't as kind of multicultural, and if I dare say it, kind of messed up the way it is today, that you could put somebody in the jury box and one of your peers was somebody who really, for the most part, was your neighbor. There's that way it was intended to be somebody who thought like you and acted like you. Folks, we are in a far different world today. And as I was witnessing the selection of the jury and the questions that they were asking the jury, it came to me, maybe they ought to ask the jury this question. Do you believe in evolution? Or do you believe that you were created in the image of God? Because, folks, I think that's a very important issue in this trial of Dr. Dino.
Wait for it.
Wouldn't a jury of Kent Hovind's peers be those who believe the same way that he does?
Oh, it gets worse. Listen, folks.
When Kent Hovind goes on trial and the jury of his peers are a group of people who do not believe like he does, or maybe one of the jurors thinks that anybody who believes in creation is a nut. Does that impact the trial?
Press pause, Michael.
Wouldn't it be germane?
Now, you're about to listen. All that was insane, and we'll get to it. But you're about to hear now one of the most bizarre analogies I have ever heard in my life. A complete twist of what facts actually portray happen to somehow advocate for his view, which is also totally insane, but I'm not sure if what he actually believes is more insane than this bizarre analogy he's using. Let's play it.
That if you put Kent Hovind on trial, that you would have people on the trial who think like he thinks so that they could, in fact, judge the merits of the case rather than their own biases about, creationism or the Bible or Christians or whatever. It would be like putting a drug dealer on trial, and when the drug dealer's on trial, you find somebody on the jury who's totally 100% against any type of drugs and thinks drug dealers should be prosecuted and thrown in jail. That would not be a jury of peers of that drug dealer.
What? I mean, this might be the most bizarre thing I've ever heard in my life. First of all, let's start at the beginning here. I love how he longs for the good old days of America where it wasn't as diverse and everyone thought the same exact thing. The good old days when your neighbor was just a good old white Christian who believed that God just snapped his fingers and poof, they all appeared right there. Just those good old days. But let's get to the drug dealer analogy. Because, my God, has this guy ever watched a trial in his life? I don't think that pedophile is really being judged by a jury of his peers. He's not getting the fair shake here. We got to put some child touchers and abusers on that jury. It's the only fair thing.
It just wouldn't be right.
It just wouldn't be right.
I like this guy. He's like, if they had caught Pablo Escobar and he had gone to trial, would it be fair to have anything other than fellow multi-billionaire Colombian cartel leaders to judge that man? Ironically, one of the it's even the more liberal approach to criminal justice issues than me. That's pretty amazing. I like that.
I don't think he meant it that way,
You
though.
literally just need to have carbon copies of yourself on your jury.
Listen, we're looking for some drug dealers to get on the jury here. Just please come forward. Any drug dealers in the house? Please just come forward. Can any drug dealers come forward, please?
I haven't moved a key in over 5 years. Then get out of here. You have no sense of the current market reality. You're not this man's peer. We're trying to run a decent jury system here.
Now, Jeffrey Dahmer, you slaughtered young men and ate them. Now, it's only fair that we find some fellow cannibals to put onto the jury.
Found a guy that killed a lot of kids, but he doesn't eat them.
Yeah,
so
that
there's
doesn't
a
count.
dispute
Nope.
here between the defense and prosecution.
We need to go back to the good old days when America wasn't so diverse and we all ate the young men we killed. Oh my God. Just unbelievable. But Coach David Daubenmire, I do appreciate you putting this creationist, Kent Hovind, in the same category as drug dealers because they're both pushing something that distorts reality.
Ooh. Depends on the drug.
True.
Some drugs
True.
illuminate reality. I would look up Ali G on YouTube did a segment probably from 2005 on religion, and the creationist on that panel is this guy Kent Hovind. And that's all I'll say.
That's him.
That's him. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
He's crazy, isn't he?
I'm saying nothing more. But don't think over the top crazy. Think like the most uptight man you've ever seen in your life saying the most insane things. And then Ali G accusing him on a panel that he thinks he's on a real TV show. Ali G accusing him of not having proper bathroom etiquette. Just watch it. It's very funny.
Dinosaur Adventureland, a young Earth creationist theme park in Florida. Be sure to go, folks. Know that your dollars will ascend right to heaven and into the Lord's pockets.